Welcome to Synthaholic Games. I'm David.
I'm Brian, and this is the part of the time where we talk about video games and news that interests us. I'm
And-
trying to make that something you say. You know how people will always say like the same thing when they start like a video or something. It's always like, "Hey guys," or something like that. I'm trying to make one for this show that we do, but like I keep forgetting what I said the previous week, so it's like slowly been changing every single week. But like the same narrative is there. It's just different words.
Yeah, you need to write it down and be really confident about it instead of.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think about it until I have to say it. You know, I just said it, and now that I'm bringing it up again, I'm thinking about it. But like once I say it, then I don't think about it at all until I have to say it again. So like it's never perfect.
Yeah, gotta get on that. Don't need to be bashful about it. We got to be proud about our way of talking about video games. Anyway,
I am proud. So David, we have news to talk about.
Yeah, so most of this is from you this week. I did provide one article.
I wonder what it is.
I have no clue what I would be wanting to talk about, but Brian brought up From Software parent Kadokawa confirms Sony's buyout intent, but insists no decision has been made at this time. Sony's trying to buy FromSoft. Oh my gosh, why is this, Brian?
Well, because they're a very successful company, but
because buying Concord's company didn't work out.
Well, I mean, buying FromSoft is going to be a little bit different. FromSoft has like the most popular games that are being made right now. They're also single player.
I don't know. I mean, Sony might demand they make Concord too. FromSoft.
Oh, can you imagine if they did? That would kill that company for sure. But I don't think they'd do that. I don't like that. I mean, really, the moral of why I brought up this story here is that I don't like that there's starting to be a very small amount of companies that owned a whole bunch of stuff. That's really what I don't like. FromSoft is obviously a beloved game studio. They also make like manga and anime and all that stuff, but that's not the point. Sony would buy that as well, but the point is that the game dev part that they make is beloved by a bunch of people, and I don't like that another megacorp is going to get a hold of them, and then obviously maybe their next game that comes out will still be a FromSoft game, but the game after that, that's where Sony's going to get their hooks in. They're going to start like doing whatever they want to do, and they have to obey because they're owned by them. Yeah, that's really all it is. I just don't like big megacorps.
The consolidation of video game companies is the worst thing to happen to gaming ever. Microsoft buying up all these companies. They buy them up, fire everyone, and then they don't put out games anymore. And then Embracer Group bought them up, and and then they just shut the studios down. A lot of them. It's just like, what are you doing? Like all of this consolidation of the video game industry is bad for the gaming industry. I mean, I guess it's good for some customers who have Game Pass, but Game Pass is bad for the industry. I don't understand why Microsoft wants to do gaming and wants to do this, but it's like objectively bad for the industry. It might be making Microsoft money somewhere, but when they own all these companies, there's money's got to be lost somewhere because Game Pass does not feel like a sustainable model.
Well, for you and I, Game Pass doesn't make sense. Not only because we kind of like understand a little bit more, but if you're like 13 years old, you don't have a critical mind. You don't care. You're just like, oh, $13 a month. Mom, can I get the subscription? And then you get it, and then you just have access to like a billion different games, and the kids don't care. It doesn't matter that when you're a kid, you can play the same level over and over again. You don't get tired of it. You and I when you grow up, not you and I, when you grow up, that becomes not a possibility anymore. If it did, you might have like, I'm not going to say, I don't know what I could say on YouTube, so I'm just not going to say anything. But game rewards.
Game rewards.
No, gamer words. I don't want to like say what I actually would say. I don't want to get in trouble.
Gotcha.
But like the point stands. It's like that mega corporations are bad. If people looked into how many like studios are owned by mega corporations, I think people would be surprised. I don't know if that's like public general knowledge unless you're really into games, but it's like there's really like less than 10 corporations that own probably like 85% of all game studios. It's probably something like that.
Yeah, it's
like you got Tencent. Tencent owns a ton of stuff. Sony, Microsoft owns a ton of stuff. Embracer Group, you already mentioned, owns a ton of stuff. It's like that's
And then EA owns everything else.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it is. There's very few like large studios left that don't have a parent company. I mean, even your Satisfactory that you love, that's not it's not an independent studio either. It's also owned.
It's owned by Embracer Group.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of Embracer Group, but I'm glad Embracer didn't shut down Coffee Stain and let them finish Satisfactory. Like once I heard Embracer owns Coffee Stain, I was scared Satisfactory wouldn't even get to come out to 1.0, and I'm glad I was wrong about that. I mean,
they seem to be an outlier, but they're not. That's not common. Like what happened to Satisfactory and how Satisfactory's work goes, it's not a common thing for them to still feel like they still have a lot of freedom to what they're allowed to do. But I'm not in the intricacies of Satisfactory.
Well, it's weird because we've got also Ghost Ship Games, which is under that umbrella.
That's Deep Rock.
Who makes Deep Rock, which is also great, and they still make new content, which is fantastic. And I think Vampire Hunters or V Rising also the same thing, and as well as Valheim. So we've got a lot of companies, or we've got like a cluster of like 4 or 5 studios under Embracer Group that are still working. I mean, I'm not saying everyone in Embracer is dead, but I mean, Embracer bought a bunch of companies and then just dissolved them.
I mean, the point of this is that like we just pointed out, or you pointed out, like 4 or 5 studios that have like a decent game, good community type of thing. We haven't played a whole bunch of like V Rising or anything, but I think it's generally understood as like these are the better types of games. But that's only 5. Embracer Group owns like they own a lot. That's like they own like 1% of their like ownerships.
I mean, they own and shut down Volition after the Saints Row reboot was terrible. Which I mean, if
they own Middle Earth,
if the Saints Row reboot wasn't terrible, maybe they'd still be around. But I mean, like I don't understand. Like the Saints Row reboot did not embrace anything that was Saints Row. They tried to be too safe and PG, and like Saints Row is all about being offensive and gross, which is part of the appeal. Like whenever you tone down a game so that it doesn't feel like the game anymore, you've lost your audience. I was also part of the problem with Agents of Mayhem. Agents of Mayhem wasn't Saints Row. It was a sub-universe inside of Saints Row. People didn't want that. People wanted more Saints Row. Like legit Saints Row.
I agree. That's how I feel about it too. So for every like one game that works out that's owned by a megacorp, there's 5 others that, people lost their jobs or whatever. And I'm not saying that there's studios where like even if they make a bad product, they should have a job. If you make bad stuff and it doesn't sell, that you do have to fire people. But it's at the rate of who they fire. It's like, really? Like this is too many. You're firing too many people.
I just hope Larian and CD Projekt Red stay away from these megacorps.
I think at least Larian will. Larian has proved time and time again they're against this stuff. So
yeah,
as long as that guy still owns like 51% of his company, I don't think much will change.
Yeah, I hope Sven.
But I still don't understand. I don't own a business, but like you give all these like boards of directors and investors and stuff like ownership of your company, but until somebody doesn't own 51% of the company, I don't understand how it matters what any of these investors say. If you're the one that owns 51%, like how can you, even if all of them vote against you, you still are like, well, I own 51%. I don't care what you say. Yeah. I don't get it. Maybe because they'll say they'll threaten to drop out or whatever. I don't know. And it feels like you own more than 50 or 40% or whatever. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
No, not really. Yeah, so our next article is also a bit of good news, which I'm very happy about. 2K launcher sunset is complete. Launchers that aren't Steam just need to die in a fire forever. Just burn alive.
Agreed.
Now, can we get rid of the Origin launcher when we launch Mass Effect from Steam? That would be fantastic. Please. Thank you.
While I do think Steam needs competition, I think competition breeds innovation. Valve has again proved time and time again that they are the right choice. That's the client you should have. I know we talk about Steam Valve pretty regularly on the show, but there's a reason for that. Is because we like talking about things that are making the right decisions, and Steam generally seems to make the right decision time and time again. Yes, there are mistakes that they make. Every company does it, but the way Steam does their monetization, the way Steam handles their business is what I think the gold standard should be. They need to make money, obviously, so we can't get everything we want. But compared to any other launcher, Steam is by far better than every other launcher, in my opinion, except the GOG launcher. I think that one's pretty solid too. The problem with that one though is like they're too like for the people. If that's a way to put it, I don't know. I don't know much about the GOG launcher. It just feels like they're like too pro for the people, which means they don't. It feels like they're missing a lot of games on there because they're too for the people. So there's not really a reason to really use that launcher unless you want to play classic games. David, what do you think about all that?
I agree with that for the most part. I think there should be competition, but the problem is that there is no competition. Like, and a 2K launcher isn't competition, like not in the correct way, because they would only sell their stuff.
Exactly.
I think Epic could have been a good competitor if they didn't have the worst business practices known to man, buying exclusivity. Like I just think it's so scummy that they buy a game to be on their system, on their platform, exclusive for a year. No one buys it because everyone hates the store. Like Alan Wake 2 is doomed to never sell very well because it's not on Steam. And Epic helped build the game. They helped fund the game. So because of that, it's probably never going to come to Steam. And by most accounts, people really liked Alan Wake 2, but almost no one played it because it's not on Steam. I mean, more people played it on console because people don't like Epic Store. It's like, when are they going to get the hint? People don't like their store. Like, well,
they have so much money though, it doesn't matter.
They think getting exclusives is what's going to help them. It hasn't. It's never done anything. Being actually competitive with better sales, better platform, better features. That's how you be competitive. Their garbage buying exclusivity is not working. They should stop that and actually compete, with better reviews. The way that they curate reviews, like, skews how games work. Like, the whole platform is just absolute garbage. Well, I mean, from like, you couldn't even have a shopping cart until relatively recently. Like it just is missing so many bare bones features, and it's been around for so long.
Well, didn't Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic, didn't he say like they're projected to lose money on that launcher until like 2028 or something like that? They're
going to lose money on that launcher forever because it's garbage, and they're not trying to compete in a meaningful way. They're just buying, and the fact that they're buying exclusivity is every time they do that, they're just losing money.
I hate exclusivity. I mean, it works. If it didn't work, studios or companies wouldn't do it. But
it doesn't work because, I mean, it
definitely does work.
Come on now. It doesn't work. I mean, it gets them to release their games, but people aren't buying them. That's the thing.
On PC, I don't think exclusivity will work. If you have a game that comes out on Steam, or no, if you have a game that comes out on Epic and not Steam, since we're on PC, we have access to both, and we just won't. It doesn't matter. We just won't get it. But if you're on console, if it's only on console and it's not coming to PC, then people will buy consoles, because if you know it's not coming to PC, you'll never be able to play it. But those tides seem to be changing.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just talking about like it doesn't work on the PC space because people just wait for it to come.
We'll just wait for it to be on Steam.
To be on Steam.
It's generally what happens.
Yeah. If they, like I said, if they would just be competitive, like for once in their lives, by like actually innovating with their store and making their storefront better than Steam and having fun features and stuff like Steam does, then maybe people would come into it and use it. But they're giving away free games and they're buying exclusivity, and it's not enough to make people. I mean, I like going and claiming the free games just to take money from Epic because I don't like them, but I don't really play any of the games.
It's stuff like that, that's fine. Like if they want to, I'm okay if they want to start being competitive and add in those fun features. I wouldn't be so opposed to using the the Epic Launcher. If it's a good product, I'm not loyal to only one good product. If people make good things, I want to do those good things.
Well, that's the problem. It's not a good product, so I don't want to go there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just not there yet.
I don't like them buying exclusivity, so I don't want to use their platform. I don't want to give them money. And then even on the Epic storefront, they switched everything over to Fab, and I think the Quixel bridge is kind of like going away, but then people complain, so it might be coming back. But the fact that they were thinking about taking away the Quixel bridge in the first place is just asinine. Like they had a product and it was great and it worked really good, and then they said they were going to take it away. So the Quixel
must not been making money or something.
So the Quixel bridge basically just lets people download stuff and they can import it directly into their 3D program, like Unreal or Blender or Maya or 3ds Max. But now with Fab, you have to just download the file and do all the management yourself. So basically, they took something that worked super good and was super convenient and made it super inconvenient. And it's just kind of like, wow. Thanks, Epic. Thanks, Epic, for that. Like, they just make lots of really bad decisions. Everything's just about making money for them. I mean, their Unreal Engine's great, but there also
the rest of it needs work.
There also needs to be competition in that thing. I mean, Unity just shot themselves in the foot and like jumped off a cliff with a noose around their neck.
They like filled their company.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane. Like I mean, like it just feels like so many things are kind of falling apart. Like so many companies are just so out of touch with like reality. It just kind of sucks.
Yep. But we got our beacons like Steam.
Steam, yeah, Steam's good. Steam is a good, worthwhile product, and I will continue to support them until they go downhill or something else comes out better.
And that was our rant about why the 2K launcher is gone. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye, 2K launcher. Goodbye,
2K.
So Marvel Snap made some people sad. So take that away,
David.
Brian.
Let me take it. So David doesn't play Marvel Snap. I do, or did. Marvel Snap is a fantastic card game. I think anybody who has any type of interest in card games would like this game. It is objectively a good game. Now, the problem that is happening is you are able to earn the new cards, or you would be able to earn like 85% of the cards by yourself for free. You don't have to worry about it. It's not a big deal. Now, recently what they've done is made it harder to get those new cards that come out. Well, what you used to have to do is play a whole bunch. You'd be able to unlock a new card probably after 15 to 20 hours of gameplay. That's already bad. But now what they're doing is now you have to pay money as well on top of that. So it's impossible to be free to play now because you can't get new cards anymore without paying for it. Which I'm okay paying for, if you're going to put, I have a lot of hours in this game. I'm okay dropping some money every once in a while if I'm enjoying it. That said, the bundles to get these cards are like $100. David, it's $100 to get a digital card. A card, not even a whole deck or anything. It's like one card costs $99. So that's where the outrage is coming from, where it's like, what is going on here? And the new cards that come out are generally what defines the meta. So if you don't have these new cards, you can't really be competitive. You can only play older decks that generally don't do as good.
That's why live service games are garbage, because they inevitably end up pulling crap like that.
Yeah, it just sucks because it's such a good card game, but it's just you just can't really get competitive with it, and you can't play the new cards that come out unless you start dropping significant time into the game or significant money into the game.
It's why I avoid live service like the plague, because they are literally a plague.
Hold on. I got one more thing to add here. One more thing. Okay, so you play 15 to 20 hours to get a key. What this key does is it unlocks a new card. Okay, with me so far?
Okay.
After you have this key,
that sounds like Overwatch 2.
Yeah, so far we're getting there. Though after you have this key, that key will unlock 3 cards. You put the key in, and it will randomly give you one of the 3 cards. Those 3 cards that it will randomly give you are given at random. They might be a card you already have. It might be a card you don't need. So you put in a key that took 15 to 20 hours to get. then you might put it in and you get a card that you don't need because you already have it. So now you just have a duplicate of the card already. But here's the kicker. Those 3 cards are on rotation weekly. So if you want a new card, you might have to wait like 3 months for the card you want to be in that 3 rotation. So, and then you, on top of that, you have a 33% chance of getting the card you want. So you might have to wait. You play 15 to 20 hours. You wait 3 months for the card you want to get in rotation. You put the key in, and then you might get a card you already have, and you can't, and you just don't get the card you want. So then you got to play another 15 to 20 hours in that week to hopefully get another key to get the card you want, because now you have a 50% chance. And then if you don't get it again, then you get screwed. I'm done. I'm done. The point of it is, what the heck, man? I really liked this game, and it's ruined now.
That's why I just say no to live service games immediately, like from the get go. I mean, you were saying how Helldivers was good, and I'm like, I don't care. It's a live service.
My stance on live services, as long as I don't have to pay to to get the new stuff or to get the new gear or to get like, as long as if it's pay to play where it's like cosmetics, all I'm getting is a skin. And it doesn't affect anything else. The skin doesn't give me 5% extra damage or anything like that. If it's cosmetic, cool, I'm good with that. But if you're paywalling, features of the game so you can actually play the game and enjoy the new stuff, that's where I immediately will uninstall the game. I'm okay if people want to pay money to get skins. That's whatever.
I don't know. You kept Overwatch 2 installed even though you had to play like a godly amount of hours to unlock the new character.
Well, I don't. Yeah, but that's not they're skin based, aren't they?
Well, no. Overwatch 2, you had to play on a godly amount of hours to just unlock the new character.
Unlock the new character?
Yeah, to unlock the new character. It was a lot of hours to do that.
Was that when it first came out? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think when it first came out, they kind of gave you the first couple because people complained. But like after that, each new character, like you had to play like X number of games before you could even unlock them because they were somewhere on the season pass.
I think it's. I'm not giving any points to Overwatch 2. That game sucks. But I think you get the new character by default now.
Oh, well, that's
I need
nice.
somebody. I would need somebody to quote me on that. But I know I have a couple friends that play Overwatch 2 pretty consistently, and a new season just started, and they got the new character just by default. I don't know if maybe you can only play it. You can only play the new character in like the non-competitive mode. You can just play it in like unranked mode. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but they didn't pay anything and they got the new character. So I don't know how that works.
When I quit, you could pay to unlock the character immediately.
Yeah.
Or you could get to like level 15 or 20 in the season pass, which took forever.
Yeah. That was my understanding too, but I think it might have changed from that. I don't know. Either way, Overwatch 2 sucks. Don't play that game. That game's absolute trash.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, live service games are trash by default typically. So if you like live service, more power to you. I just cannot get invested in the game for them to end up screwing me over like the way Marvel Snap screwed over its fans, because I feel like it's inevitable. And if the live service is still around, one of two things happen: the live service fails and dies immediately, like Concord.
Or that game that Bayonetta studio made, Platinum Games made a live service game that came out like last year, and that wasn't a big story. But Platinum Games, instead of making Bayonetta game, they made a live service game. It was out for like 2 months and then it failed. It was similar to Concord.
Yeah, I mean it's just either comes out and dies real fast, or it stays around and then it tries to screw you over by changing things
to get more and more money out of you. Either way, Overwatch 2, absolute garbage game, and Marvel Snap is unfortunately a really good game that has now been changed to the point where you have to just really drop big amounts of money to get single cards to be competitive. Anyway, that's my Marvel Snap take. If anybody wants to fight, I don't think anybody would want to fight me on that, but like I have a lot of hours in Marvel Snap and I really liked that game. So It just sucks, man. It sucks. Anyway, what's our next story? I don't want to. I'll keep going with this Marvel Snap thing if I'm not told to stop.
No, so yeah, we can stop. Our last
Get me out of here.
Our last article that I pulled up is Satisfactory snags PC Game of the Year Golden Joysticks Award 2024. I'm glad it was nominated somewhere for Game of the Year, because the real Game Awards didn't nominate obviously the best game of the year. They didn't even nominate it. So I mean, that's disappointing. But at least they won one of the Game of the Year awards from one of the things, and they won the PC Game of the Year award, which I'm so happy for. I love Coffee Stain Studios. I love their community managers. They do a great job, and I love Satisfactory. Satisfactory is one of my favorite game. Fixmas starts, well, it'll be like a week ago or more by the time you hear this. Fixmas starts December 1st, which is tomorrow as of the date we record this. So I'm looking forward to getting in the Fixmas spirit with Satisfactory seasonal event, and Deep Rock seasonal event ought to be starting soon if it hasn't already. We need Christmas stuff in our rocks.
Christmas time. Yeah, Satisfactory is a people really love that game. I just think it's I've told you before, and for the fewer listeners, I think it's too niche. I think it's too niche to really be getting nominated for Game of the Year.
No,
I don't think it's too niche to get nominated for like something. It should be nominated for something. I'd have to go through everything all 29 categories to see what it should fit into, but I don't think it qualifies for Game of the Year. PC Game of the Year, 100%.
I mean, I really love Snut. He's one of the community managers at Coffee Stain Studios. After the Game Awards announced that they were going to be doing, like, letting Elden Ring DLC be on the thing, he's like, I'd like to nominate Barbie Dream or The Sims, Closet Pack 4 for Game of the Year. He like posted something like that on his Twitter, which was fantastic. I like Snut. He's a good guy.
Well, David, we can address that comment now that you brought up Elden Ring and Game of the Year, man.
Game of the Year, yeah, go ahead.
So there was we got a comment, and the comment was the gist was the Elden Ring DLC is the best game that came out this year compared to the rest of the games. I understand what you're saying. If you actually did play all the games, though, that'd be pretty impressive. I probably didn't play all the games to really have that concrete, but if you did, and if you still think it's best, I probably agree with you. I think Elden Ring DLC probably is the best game that came out this year. But I said game. The issue is it's not a standalone game. Well, it might be the best, and I probably would agree with you. It's just it needs to be standalone. It needs to be a full, fresh, and complete experience for it to be a game. A DLC just isn't. That's not the point. Is that it's not. It's just a DLC. It needs to be a game, a full experience, brand new game. Best expansion would be better for something like that. That's really what we're coming from.
Or best ongoing game, which is a category of the Game Awards.
Yeah, that also would work. So, there's a good chance the Elden Ring DLC is the best game, quote unquote, that came out this year. It shouldn't be nominated for Game of the Year because it's not a game; it's a DLC.
I 100%.
That's really what. There's no. It's neither one of us are discounting that the DLC is bad or it shouldn't be playable.
I would say it's bad because I hate.
You don't like Elden Ring.
I hate all Souls-like games because I don't care.
But that's not the argument. The argument is it could be a good game. It's just the argument is it could be a good game. It's just not. It's not a game of the year. It's a DLC of the year. If you like
cock and ball torture, it could be a fantastic piece of content, but it is not. It is not a game.
I will say I was a FromSoft hater, and I played Elden Ring this year, and I played the DLC. It is one of my favorite games I've ever played in my entire life. It is a fantastic game, and I have played most of the games that are nominated for Game of the Year, and I do agree. I do think I've had the most enjoyment with the Elden Ring DLC, but that's not the point. The point is that it's just not. It's a DLC. It's not a game.
It is a DLC, not a game. Also, the poker game, Balatro. Like, it's just like, come on, really? Like, why? I mean,
okay, that's a fair. David, I loved that game so much. I bought it on Steam, played it so much on Steam. and I got so addicted to it that when I wasn't at my computer, I wanted to play it still, so I bought it on my iPad, and I play it on my iPad. That game is so good, and if anybody who hasn't played the game yet, you should play it because that game is fantastic.
It should be on the indie game of the year because there is an indies category and it's an indie game. It's a game.
That can qualify for game of the year. It is a standalone, fresh experience game.
It's poker.
You can be nominated. You cannot be nominated.
And it's also, but there's other games that should be on the list. Satisfactory, Stellar Blade. What else came out this year? Helldivers 2. People love that game. I mean, I personally wasn't going to play it because I'm not a huge fan of it. But Helldivers 2, people love that game. Palworld. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of things that came out that were really good this year. That were full, unique experiences that weren't poker and weren't a DLC. That could have been nominated but weren't.
Now, what? I know I talked to you about this already, but for the people that are listening, I think I can change your mind based on this next statement I'm going to make.
Ooh.
The game of the year nominations are decided by the 200 judges, the 200 organizations that judge the games. So whatever they vote for is what gets nominated for. So this is not Jeff Keighley's fault. This is not the Game Awards' fault. These are the people that voted. This is what they believe should be games of the year. So if Stellar Blade isn't in there,
how do these 200 outlets not know that DLC is not a video game?
That's what they decided. That's just what they voted for.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
That's what they voted for, man. And the problem that I brought up to you as well is, what does Jeff Keighley do in that situation? If you say like, no, you can't do, since there are no rules, there were no rules for the DLC to be involved. Or DLCs to be involved in Game of the Year. The judges didn't know whether it could or could not, so they just voted for the DLC. And now when that goes to the Game Awards people, they can either say, no, you can't do that, which will then end up leaking, and then people get mad that the Game Awards is getting rid of games that are actually getting nominated, which loses credibility. Or they say, okay, we allow it.
It doesn't lose credibility. It's not a video game. It
does lose credibility because now we don't know if the Game Awards are getting rid of other games that are getting nominated.
They're losing credibility by nominating a DLC.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because there was no rules. They can say you can't have Elden Ring DLC as Game of the Year, but the problem with saying that is once it would leak that the Game Awards said you can't have a DLC for Game of the Year, now that means we're discrediting the people that are voting, and now those people that are voting are going to get mad because what they voted for isn't true, and they're going to complain. And now the community will say, hey, well, now Game Awards is dictating what can and can't be nominated. It was going to be a lose-lose for them. There was no good way to go about this. It was either be true to what the people judged, or tell the people what they judged they're wrong and they can't have this. Both sides would have caused a problem. I think that the best thing they need to do is next year say no DLC.
Have a rule, yeah. They need to have a rule next year for sure.
There was no winning. There just wasn't this year.
But yeah, I think the Game Awards is just going downhill in general. Like it's gotten significantly worse every year as an enjoyable thing to watch. Personally,
yeah, there's ways to.
I'm abstaining from watching the Game Awards live this year. I can't do it. Last year was just painfully boring.
Yeah, there's things they could do to improve it, but people like you and me aren't the ones that are paying the bills, so
make it shorter.
It doesn't. There's no. I wish they would make it shorter, and I wish they would be more selective on what new games to show. I do like that. I still. Well, it's cool to see new trailers and stuff. I prefer to watch it to see like the devs that actually worked on the game give like a speech and what because they worked hard. They've been some of these devs have been working on these games for 10 years. Sometimes they get nominated, they win, and they finally get their chance to like have a talk to the crowd. And I like that they get recognition.
Well, yeah. So the Game Awards did several major things to make it a watchable show. Cut all musical numbers. They go on. They go on.
No, don't do that.
They go on for way too long, and they're not that good.
What are you talking? Are you talking about when they do like before they show the Game of the Year, they do the mashup with the orchestra of the theme songs of all the games that are nominated? You think they should get rid of that? I really like that. That's literally my favorite part of the show.
I don't know about that one, but I mean the other musical numbers. Like they've had like multiple
Like the
things.
Alan Wake one.
The Alan Wake one was weird. I didn't care for it. The year before they had one that was also long. They had like a Doom one where they played like a bunch of heavy metal music. I love me some heavy metal music, but it has nothing to do with Game Awards. Just stop with the musical numbers. That helps it shaves off some time.
Well, and should you get rid of the music?
Stop with that. Well, no, not the music category. I'm talking about the musical numbers that have nothing to do with the game, because they've had it multiple times where like they have like some band come out and play something, and it's just like has nothing to do with the Game Awards.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Cut musical numbers, cut Hollywood guest appearances. Don't care. I want to hear.
They don't care. If they had an actual gamer come out like that, we knew that is like, hey, they're passionate about something and they're working on a game, and they're investing. I'm okay with that. But it's when you have like Al Pacino come out, just like it's like, what do you come on now?
Yeah, Al Pacino. I was he probably
Al
doesn't even know
Pacino
what a
isn't
video
playing
game is.
Factory.
No, he's not playing anything. He doesn't play. I doubt. I seriously doubt he plays video games.
Yeah,
but yeah, get rid of all these like Hollywood celebrities. Celebrate your game devs. Let them talk for more than 30 seconds before you
cut them off.
You let them off the stage. I want to hear from some of them. That would be kind of nice. You know, trailers are nice now that E3's dead, but I mean, like, vet them a little bit, maybe? I don't know. Because, I mean, trailers is half the reason people watch the Game Awards. They don't really watch it for the awards. I mean, I kind of like some of the awards, and I think some of the awards are interesting, but I mean, the game of the year is like a joke this year, so I extra don't want to watch it because I'm just expecting Elden Ring to win because Elden Ring already won. So it's just
I also think it's probably going to win too.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just rolling my eyes. It's just.
I think it'll probably win. I wouldn't be surprised if it wins.
And keep it under 4 hours. Like Game Awards should be like 2 hours, 3 hours tops. But last year was like, I felt like it was 4 or maybe even longer. They have a lot of stuff. It was and then there was like the pre-show too with the lady with the really awful dress.
Oh yeah, she makes really cringe jokes.
She always finds like the worst things to wear. One year she wore something kind of cute, but like, was it last year, the year before? It was like a fur thing. It was weird.
I don't remember.
It was really weird.
I know she's like cringy though. I don't think she actually knows anything about gaming.
Oh, probably not. That's the thing. Like, get people on who actually know something about gaming. Have Alana Pierce do that role. She knows about gaming. Like, I mean, like, people in the community that are, like, you know, knowledgeable. Please, for the love of God, stop with these cringe people, these Hollywood people, these people that don't know anything. Sure, that girl's hotter than Alana Pierce, but I don't care. Alana Pierce knows stuff about video games. Let someone who knows something about video games, you know, talk.
Yeah, I don't really care what they look like. I just want them to be passionate about games.
Oh, right.
I'm not watching it for that.
Yeah,
I want to see Corey Balrog find out what game he's working on. Can you get him up there and just have him talk about his new game? That's what I want.
Have Kim Levine. Also, don't have Kojima up there talking about nothing for 30 minutes because like
he's talking about like a movie and stuff. It's like, man, that's like I like Kojima. I do. I am a huge fan of Kojima. But like, don't just make it like a selling point where it's just like you go out and they like show, oh, we're working on a movie, but we have nothing to show. It's like, okay, like come back when you have something to show.
We just got rated by the Klingon Pop Warrior. Hey, thanks for joining us. And we were kind of wrapping up talking about our video game news this week. We were talking about the Game Awards and how weird and controversial they are this year. And ways to improve the Game Awards, because I definitely think, you know, Kojima is one game developer that actually got to speak last year at the Game Awards, right? But he spoke about nothing for like 30 or 40 minutes, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Like,
I don't know if it was like that. I feel like 30 or 40 minutes was a little long.
No, but I mean, it was like a good 10, 15 minute thing. And like every other game developer got rushed off the stage after like just 30 seconds to a minute. Like
when the Baldur's Gate guy that comes out in like the suit of armor. Sven. This game is like one of the biggest, greatest games ever made, and he's like sitting there talking about like one of his developers had like cancer or something, and the music starts playing where he has to like get kicked off. It's like let him talk, man. Like this is why we're here. We're here to see what the devs had. This is called the Game Awards. He won an award. Let him like talk.
Yeah.
But they have to like rush him off so they can show like Frogger 3D.
Oh yeah, it was just very very poorly set up, and I
no,
think
it's not Frogger 3D. I mean, it's a joke that like they kicked everybody off so they could show trailers, but they showed Monster Hunter after that.
Yeah.
Either way, let them talk. Like Hazelight Studios, Joseph Fares made has made some of the best co-op games in the world. Like that guy made a name for himself because of the wild stuff he does at the Game Awards, and just like screw the Oscars or whatever he said. Like let that guy talk about his game or something. I don't know. And it doesn't make you money, but like it makes people happy.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some things they could do to make the Game Awards better, but I don't think they're going to do any of them. I think it's just going to get longer and more boring, and going to treat the game devs even worse.
Yep.
So,
well, that's what we got this week. Email David at synthaholics at yahoo.com. Yep.
Yeah, and go play Satisfactory because it won the Golden Joystick PC Game of the Year. It's a fantastic game, and I love it.
More than most.
Yes. Well, anyway, thanks all for watching, and thanks Jen for the raid, and you have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.